Alexandra Nicole Vasquez, and I am from Texas, the Rio Grande Valley, which is a border town. Texas is shaped like this. It's literally the very tip. And I grew up with, I like to call them queer parents, but I'm not sure if they would identify as queer. My mom, I mean, growing up, they did identify as a lesbian couple, very traditional. My mom's very, lipstick, and my dad was like very butch, but as I've grown older, and things have changed. My mom, I think, identifies now as just lesbian, but sometimes bi. And my dad was assigned female at birth, but it uses he/him pronouns, but does not identify as trans. So I just refer to them as queer parents because they are, my queer parents. So I do have biological parents, and they were together until I was maybe 3 or something like that. And then my dad, who Ray, that's his name, he came into my life when I was about 5 or 6 and has been raising me since then. Actually, the person who told me that my mom was gay was my stepmom, and she said it in a very negative way. And I guess like I always knew in the back of my head. And then one time my brother and I found a picture of them kissing, and we were like, what? And one day she just said, I'm gay. And my brother started crying, and he said that, like, we talk about it now, and he said, I don't even know why I cried, but I did. And I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I think kids are way smarter than most people think. And of course we were just like, whatever. I mean, that doesn't mean that I didn't grow up feeling, to be honest, like ashamed in many ways, or like felt, ashamed from the community. Growing up, before a friend would come over, it would be like, oh hey, I have to warn you, kind of in a way. I mean, of course, like, I didn't have to warn them, but just growing up in that, like, it made me feel like I had to do that. I would say, by the way, I have, queer parent, or I have 2 moms. I did feel like I had to, be like, oh, by the way. And I also felt like sometimes, at school there would be like parent-teacher conference, or if I received an award for getting all A's, I would, the parents would come, and sometimes like my dad wouldn't be able to make it, and I would feel like a sense of relief because I'm like, oh, okay, like, like my dad, who is like more like masculine, gender, like queer looking, wouldn't be able to come. And of course, like, a part of me felt bad for feeling it, but the other part was just like, because I felt that I was going to be judged or something. Also relieved that I didn't have a quinceañera, which, if you don't know what that is, it's like a big party or dance when you turn 15. Because I didn't want to have to choose who to dance my father-daughter dance with. I really wanted to dance with my dad, but I know that my biological father and his family would judge me, and they would, like, I would feel forced to dance with him, but I wouldn't want to dance with him. It's just, I don't know, growing up with queer parents, especially where I grew up, was, I think, tough in many ways, but it was also really beautiful. And tough in that, like, they would tell my mom, oh, well, if you're gay, your kids are going to turn gay or whatever. And it's like my brother's straight, like super straight, and he also grew up alongside, like, with my parents. And also, like, what about straight parents who have queer kids? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Or people would be like, they tell my mom, like, why are you doing this? Like, your kids are gonna come out. They didn't think that queer parents could raise children, that we were gonna come out messed up. How were you born? Like, what did your mom? And it was like, okay, like, I get why you asked that, but like, also, it's pretty invasive. Like, it's not okay to be asking that, Mom alluded them, like, oh, I've never met anyone with like queer parents before. Oh my god, like, you're the product. My mom, all their friends were queer. They all had kids. Like, I grew up around that community, and that's another thing. Like, it's a very old school community. Like, to be honest, like, my parents are like still very traditional. Like, the word queer doesn't even exist where I'm from, much less like trans. And so, like, growing up, there was a lot of like old school lesbian and like lesbian culture that, like, now at one point in college, I was kind of judging and would like correct and be like, don't say that, don't do that. But then I realized after watching one of Marga Gomez's performances, that like this queer culture or lesbian culture at the time like helped me survive. You know, it helped my parents survive and still survive. Like it still exists there in the valley.